Cue the music.
We're going to start this, I don't know what would you call this, mid-reel? Mid-reel, is that where we're starting it? We're starting here, and it ain't at the beginning. We're not starting at the beginning. So I didn't, as you can see, I got a hell of a mess going on here. Put a quarter on it, going to put an inner wheelhouse in, got to make a little, I'm just going to put a little piece of steel down in there in the trunk drop off, because there was just a whole bunch of shit stacked up in one end of it, and it caused a rust hole there, but the rest of it's good, so I ain't changing the whole damn thing. I'm just going to put a piece in. Everybody else is pretty happy. The wheelhouse, it's good, except for where the wheel lip was. And this is a pretty good indication of what the wheel lip was. Hmm? You see that? Black paint. Nice, eh? Ooh, there goes sketchy. So you can probably find, a pretty reasonable number of videos on changing the quarter panel. Oh, I should get that off of there. And wheelhouse replacement and all that kind of stuff. Because there's 10,000 people out there that are doing it, and oh, see that? Every damn one of them will tell you that their way is the way to do it. I don't care how you do it. Do it however you want to do it. This is how I'm doing it. I sneak up on it, and I am not changing the jam portions of the quarter. Well, actually, what we're going to do, and I've discussed this before. So this is the factory metal on the car here. So this factory piece here, this is the factory quarter panel. I'm not putting a quarter panel on the car because that's not how they pronounce it where it was produced. I'm going to put on a quarter pino. So I have trimmed away the lion's share of the factory quarter panel, and I have trimmed the jam portions in the trunk jam and the door jam, and I guess this little bit that tucks up under here off of the new quarter pino. And the reasons that I don't want to use the jam portions on the new quarter pino is I don't have a lot of confidence. I do have an itchy pit. I don't have a lot of confidence in the way that it is stamped. I have changed full on a quarter pino a great many times on a great many cars. And by great, I mean quite a few. And it's been a problem every damn time. And I'm not even exaggerating. Every damn time it's been a problem. Some cars have been a problem at every point. I did them on a Camaro, put new a quarter pino on a 70 Camaro, and I had to widen the new panel at the trunk gap because I had a trunk gap that was out wide, and I had to reshape the door jamb gap on it because the door jamb just wasn't stamped right. And I mean, it happens time after time after time. So what I'm going to do is I've trimmed those off, and I'm going to butt weld it along this seam, probably in half an inch or so. Same as I've done to the other side. There's already video on this if you look back there. And you might say, well, you're making the same video again. But I'm not, because that was the right side and this is the left side. Yeah, I'm going to come in about a half an inch. Up here, I'm going to butt weld it. I'm going to leave that factory seam because that factory seam is still nice and silver. There ain't nothing wrong with that. And the same up here, I'm going to come back probably 3/8 to a half an inch from the door jamb back there and cut that in. And then we will retain the factory door jamb. Now, if this was rusty and shitty and all beat up down in there, then chances are I would take the low road, not the high road, and tie up a noose and hang myself and start putting a new full quarter pino. As well, the wheelhouse, I am not going to change the entire wheelhouse back to this pinch weld. I have already fit the new wheelhouse into the new quarter pino, and there's some similarities, but they ain't an exact. So it's going to take some juggling around. And I'm not confident that this radius, this depth, everything here is going to place the outside of our new quarter pino where we're going to want it to make it look like it should look, because it's already pretty good as it is. And I don't need the wheelhouse either pulling it out or sucking it in or whatever. So I'm going to, here we have a bit of a radius and it's kind of coming out. You see what I'm saying to you? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit the new Acotapino on there. Then I'm going to get inside there and I'm going to pull the bottoms out and I'm going to snake our wheelhouse in here at in some fashion, somehow. I'm not sure yet. I'm just going to do it some way. They'll be overlapped. And what my intent is I will go on the inside here and I will tack weld this to the new panel in a few areas there. Then I'll be able to take, and I'll be happy with my fit. I'll clamp my lips. I'll give my lips out. I'll give the old duck lips a good clamping in there to make sure we're going to be able to get in there on our wheel well. And then I'll pull a Cotapino off, and then I'll make a cut, and then I'll butt weld one cut through there. That's what I did to the other side. I mean, I know when you see it on TV, everybody comes in here, and they do her in there, but again, I'm just not confident in the new panel, so I'm not going to do that. And on this particular vehicle, this outer wheelhouse, it goes up in here and it sandwiches between the inner wheelhouse, this structure here, this support for the sail panel support here, and then down here there's another little piece down in there that it sandwiches into. So you gotta and you gotta drill out 1,700 spot welds through 3 layers, and then when you weld it back together again, you gotta make sure that your weld goes all the way through everybody, which is trickier than you think. A lot of times you'd be surprised how often you can be trying to weld through 3 layers of steel and your weld, it ain't catching one of them layers because it hits it and it just bridges over it. It does it. I'm telling you, it's happened to me before. So anyways, then once I get to that point, then I'll clean. This is all just like rust dust. That comes off there like nothing. And I'll epoxy black all this before we put on the Cotapino. And I mean, these are the good mark, I think. Good mark? Yeah. I think so's the door. The door box is over there. Yeah, like this is all good mark sheet metal. And you can say, well, AMD's better, this guy's better, that guy's better. It's all made in the same damn place. I mean, it's all the same shit. So whatever. You can take whatever company you want, and I'll just about bet you that you could take this good mark Cotapino and line it up to an AMD, a Cotapino, and they're probably the same damn panel, just in a different box. So there. And I notice now in a previous video when I did that side, now when I cut all the jams and stuff out of this thing, I cut them right in that corner. You know what I'm saying to you? And I did the same here and I did the same there. Now here, when I set the quarter on, it comes down to that corner. On that side, when I set it down to do my trim work, that edge that I cut right in there, it was damn near a ½ an inch up. That would have been a problem because it didn't line up here. It wouldn't, and I had seen, who was it? Old Fitzy's Fabrications, is that what he calls himself? Anyways, old Fitzy's in Eastern Canada. He was putting a Cotapino on the Chevelle, same quarter panel, 71, 72 Chevelle, and he had a hell of a time back there because this pocket, and it was that side, wasn't stamped right. And so, I mean, that kind of vindicates me a little bit now, doesn't it? Oh, Fitzy can't do it. Well, then what the hell? Where are you? Fitzy can't do it, then where are you? You're nowhere, that's where. When you weren't looking, I've made a preliminary cut. Now when you're gonna do this, leave leave both panels big, is what I'm trying to stutter and stammer at here. Cut this one tight and cut this one big, tight to your problem area. So I got a lot of overlap here. Because this panel here, it's got a body line in it. Well, I cut this right at the top of that body line. And this panel here, I got 4 inches of body line. So really, I have that much of the panel. So I have inches of overlap everywhere. And what I'm gonna do, as I said, is I want this to wind up on the outside like that. I'm gonna have to do some stuff down there, that's okay. But anyways, I want to wind up with it where I need it. And then I'll take the quarter off and then I'll make one final cut through both panels and then I'll butt weld this baby in. And then when this thing's on the titzerino, when I can spin it and baste it, Then I'll go in, I'll clean those welds up nice inside there. The wheel welds will get undercoated nice with some box liner or something. You'll never know that anybody was in there. And everybody's going to be where we want them to be. Because doing it this way, well, I'm going to have, like, I can juggle that around and put it where I need to put it so it's happy with the quarter pino. Whereas if you put the unit in place like this, I'll weld all that in there, well, it's there. And if this guy and that guy don't get along, well, then they just don't get along, right? So yeah, that's what the quarter looks like. Essentially, I have turned it into, they call them, everybody that refers to it as either a full quarter or a skin. But generally what they're referring to when somebody says, uh-oh, I'm losing you. When somebody says a skin, so what they're meaning usually is it doesn't have that sail panel section. A skin is cut kind of usually right in that body line that you can see there, especially on the Chevelle. The skin would be cut along there. And then, oh, get up there. You see that edge there? That's the top of the rear, like the trunk lid is riding right here. That's the top of the quarter there. A skin will just have like an inch folded over there so you can cut her in there anywhere where you want. And then it comes straight across down here. And then it wouldn't have this flange on it either. So we got a full quarter so that I could do it at the sail panel and so that I didn't have to do a 6.5 foot long weld through there, because this will make a nicer job in the end. So I got some problems here already. Look at how big my face got. It's the same day I had a haircut for lunch. So, remember I was saying everybody doesn't always get along. Well, we're not really getting along here. Our inner wheelhouse, let me get you in tight. Leg out, fatty cakes. So the inner wheelhouse and the outer quarter pino. Now I don't know if you can make that out, but our bends, we're not in the same place, right? Because you need this guy, this little pocket, it needs to bottom down out in there. And it is, and when I bottom it out, well then our, cut it out, would you? Then our bends just don't line up. And somewhere in the shape here, it holds the quarter out. So this is why I was saying that I want to leave stuff loose and float. Yeah, what are you looking at? And get out of here, would you? Come on now. Beat it. All right, just a minute. I don't like doing that, but she's got a scram. That's the old fatty cake scramulator 1.8. So, like I said, we're floating around in here, kinda. You know, I mean, it's like I got a vice grip in the back loose. It doesn't really fit nice, you know, and we got some issues. Anyways, that's holding it down out. So I need to bring that in, and now you see how far in that scooch is at, because this, when I put a piece on here, well, it's only going to go to there and it's barely going to catch. And another problem we have is we only have that much lip, 3/4 of an inch of lip there. So it's barely going to catch there. Here, it might not. And I've done it before where I've had to punch my hole in the quarter here and my weld. So we got a line, if you can see that, which is our lip, to line up with our lip. But then we've got a rounded edge as it fakes its way out. I've had to catch that rounded edge and then build a little pyramidal weld off of that out and then plug it into here. If that makes sense to you. I've had to do it more than once, and I'm going to have to do it here again too. But so that's one of our problems, is that we're not getting along. And I got a big fat gap down here. A lot of this stuff, once I get this inner wheelhouse floating better, then it's just going to be a matter of clamping it and working my way around, and then it's going to pull that inner wheelhouse where I need it to be to meet the, oh, you're back, are you? Holy vey. where it's going to need to be. So it might not be square, it might not be, whatever. So that's what we're going to have to do. But one thing that I noticed in looking at this thing is I'll have to take you back there to show you. But the quarter right in this here and to here, these cars, these 70 to 72 Chevelles, they put a hip in this quarter panel. It's got a hip. I don't know how else to explain it. It's got a hip in the quarter panel. In the quarter panel. It's got a big fatty cakes in the quarter panel. See what I'm saying? I bet you beat it now. But we're too hippie. It needs to go in. And it needs to, when I push on it, it probably needs to go in a good bit. And when I push it in, it pushes down there because I'm flattening this radius out, and it closes our gap up down here to where it's going to be, a little bit better. Anyways, it'll probably be all right. It'll be similar to the other side, so that'll be workable. So what I got to do is I'm going to have to use the inner wheelhouse anchored, as in installed and welded, and it's going to have to be in the position so that I can't just push on this because we're floating. So it's going to move the inner wheelhouse if I just push on this where I need it to be. So I kind of need to figure out where that inner wheelhouse needs to be and install it incorrectly, I guess. I mean, it's correct for the situation, but I got to get that inner wheelhouse where I'm going to need it so that I can anchor to it to flatten this quarter out to get rid of this hip. And I'll show you the hip. So it's going to take some. It's bitchy. This is one reason why I don't like, if I don't need an entire panel, like an inner panel, I won't use it, because had I just put that inner wheelhouse in with the difference in our shape and with our somewhat misshapen quarter panel, could I doctor everything together? I don't know. I don't know how much time that would take. And if this was a TV show, break, cut, just a minute, et cetera, we'd be taping 3 days later because I would have to spend 25 hours dinking around with this thing before you can start the cameras again. Well, we ain't doing that. Like you can see, when I get lined up sideways here, see how that's like it's too hippie there. Hey, like you can see the curve of that quarter coming out. When me and Fatty Cakes go over to this side, now you see how it's just a gradual. Are you picking up on that? So this is a good side. That's Fatty Cakes. And on this side, see what I mean? And so when I push on here, well, you're not going to be able to see it, but I can tell by how much I can get that to move in that it's going to take a half an inch out of that hip. And that's what we're going to need. So anyways, it's going to be a whole lot of finagling going on here, and I mean, I just got to do it. So that's what I got to do. Did you get all that? So I just thought I'd give you a little snapshot of what I'm doing here. Now, obviously, if you got to do something like this at home, well, you're going to need to get a paint booth to brace off of. I don't know what else to tell you. But anyways, I got it. I'm not sure. I think I got it. I'm pretty happy with where we're at. Like I said, I probably pushed that in better than a half an inch. And so I have the inner fender. That's what I'm pointing at there. I got her clamped. Not every inch, but I got her clamped all the way around, so we're pretty tight up in here. Like we're fitting pretty snug. And it moved quite a bit. I could hear the inner fender. I could hear it sliding against the original fender back inside here. So yeah, it moved around quite a bit as I was moving it. And it's wherever it is right now, that's where it's got to be. So that's why I like to do them this way. Really, I didn't have a rust hole down there, but the pockets and the curves were different enough between that new black inner fender and the GM inner fender that I thought I would just cut that whole pretzel out of there and then go with the aftermarket one. And then I just got to make a weld, grind them down, and we're done. That's faster than dinking around with with the rest of it. I'm gonna go up in there and I'm gonna find a way to push those together and scrape some undercoating off of there. Yeah, I got a pretty, see how those, see how that little body line thing, what's this, doesn't line up there anymore? Well, once I pull the quarter off, I can do what I gotta do there. And you'll never see that anyways. But yeah, I'll have to get that. I'll have to, I don't even know if I can, where can I even point? Where's my, never mind. You see what I gotta do there anyways, for crying out flavin'. So anyways, yeah, I'm gonna climb up inside there and put a series of tack welds around up in there and then take the coat of Pino back off and do some inner wheelhouse finishing. So if this looks odd to you, it probably should, but at the same time, not so much. So I got my inner wheel. This is a new day. I got my inner wheelhouses in there. It's welded in. It's done. The quarter panel, I got it sitting where I wanted it to. So we got, got the bulge down and stuff. So just about nothing is right, honestly. If we get in here and look in here, if you look in here, you can see that this is my new window wedge, and that's the factory window wedge. We're out quite a ways. I got to do this. I got a big piece of rubber because I don't want to dent the coat of Pino. And we're braced there and then down to the frame because I had to pull this side in. So I had to do the same kind of, get up there, same kind of thing over to that side before I finish this off. So I did one quarter at a time. Obviously, this is a new quarter on this side, a coat of Pino. So when in doing all this work and everything I had to do here, I went off of that side before I had cut it apart. So a big thing was the measurement from here to here. It wasn't the same from one side to the other. And once again, had I left this trunk jam in here, it would have stayed too wide. I had to do the same thing here to where the window fit. I had to cut and weld this and move that corner around. And if you see inside there, there's some trim. That's how I did it. That's the factory trim from the car. So I set it, sorry, I'm pointing at my camera here. I should be pointing in front of the camera, not at the camera, being the phone. I set it with the dust marks, you know what I mean, where the trims all go together. And then I laid it in the hole because I had to doctor that up here too. You can see a bunch of grinding going all the way up and around and as well in here. So I had to change both radiuses and I did it to fit the stainless. So I got to do the same thing there. So this width, I set this to that side before when it was factory. So now I have setting that side to this side. I don't remember, all I know is what I got measured here and I know that it was the same before. And that side is well over 1/4 of an inch wider than it needs to be. Thus, straps, rubbers. So I'm pulling that quarter in and then once I got this quarter into place, I'll zing a screw down into this corner here and that'll hold the quarter in. Like I can damn near, if I grab a hold of it and I give her the old with the belly, that's appealing, isn't it? If I give her that business, I can get the quarter to move in about as much as I need to, just by putting my own pressure on it. So, I mean, this is under some tension here, obviously. But yeah, I'll put a screw in there and then that'll hold us where we need to be here. Now, once it's anchored there, well, then I'm going to have to start doctoring this up. And I'm going to have to doctor that up. I'm hanging out too far here. There's a gap between it and there. When I pinch it and line my curve up here, it puts a big bow in it there. So that tells me that this sail panel is too wide. So just like I did on that side, I had to make a cut all the way down here, probably down to about here, cut it, clearance it, and lay the sail panel in. I had to do that a couple of times. Here, I had to cut it all the way up and around that corner and then slowly walk that corner up until it matched up with the factory in there. They don't show you all this kind of stuff on the TV shows and the big fancy YouTube channels because nobody wants to talk about this. They just want to go, bang, nail a quarter panel on there and then get on to the next thing. But this is what it takes. And this is why you can't start putting a quarter panel on in the morning and be done in the afternoon. And if somebody does do it that way, it's all messed up and it ain't right and you might not see the finished product, or they got lucky as a son of a bitch. I'm not so lucky. I'm not sure what take this even is. I mean, I stopped and started videoing a few times now throughout this video. And I mean, here we are again. I've done some stuff and it's a few days later because it's after a weekend. It's Monday now. You can see, unless you're tick, that I cleaned this up, surface. It's got epoxy on it. Everybody, see how it's nice and black now. So now it's time to wha-bang, put on the coat of pino. I've done a little more trimming, and actually I have had the coat of pino up here, I'm going to say, but I'm not sure. I'll try to get to the point. Probably 7 or 8 times now. And this is the grand finale, because we're all done. I got some grinding down there where I'm going to hit it. I'm going to have to trim that off. I got to trim a little bit off here, but all that gets done once the coat of pino is in place. I got some screw holes. I got some clamps. Whatever. Here we go. I suggest, when I started doing this a long time ago, if you're putting a panel on like this, something big like this, and you're going to paint the inside of it, sand the inside of it before you put it on. Then you don't got to climb inside the trunk and sand the inside of it. Let me say inside again. Sand it on the inside, would you? See, this is the first time I've done this without wearing a pair of gloves. So this would be where I get cut. Cut. He's cut. Every coat of pino I've put on these cars, these old cars anyways, has been a different adventure every time. And I mean, this side is different than that side. It's I don't know why. But yeah, it ain't never the same way twice. Do you know how much easier it is to just say, let's had new parts on it, it's had new quarters put on it, it's had new trim put on it, it's had new stuff on it, so nothing fits with this shit, because that's what you get. That's the way she goes. You know how much easier that would be than this? So, all right, I got my corner trimmed up here. I had to cut her in here so I can get her flush there. I've done quite a bit. I got all my butts are done. The butts are done. They're not welded, but I got some butts. Down here, I had to spread that up. You can see how much I had to spread that. That is, that's 3/8 of an inch. I had to move that up because this cut here is where that trough came. Nice work, boys. That's how they made it. So what I've done here, you can see over there, I got a little thin block of wood in there to duplicate the thickness of the glass. And then if I pull up on this, I can get it up over there. So yeah, so the trim fits nice everywhere. Probably fits better than it did in 1972. In fact, I guarantee it fits better than it did in 72. So we got a nice tight fit here. I already know I got a nice tight fit over there. So we got that all done. Don't scratch the metal. So now it's time to do a bunch of welding. Fill this stuff in here. Up here. I'm not too worried about that gap there. Don't just relax with the camera, would you? So yeah, I'm not too, I do got a gap up there. I'm not sure if I'm going to fill that gap or not, because I am going to be putting a piece of steel in to fill this, the seam gap here, right? I did the same thing on the other side already. So I haven't decided yet. I probably will, actually. I might just weld that up. It's not as big as it seems. Just to make sure that, we got all our, I don't know. Because I mean, there's welds in there. There's welds in the trough here. Never mind. I'll weld some of them a bitch up. But yeah, all the butts are done. In cutting back here a ways, actually, as you can tell, because this line kind of starts to fade down. But coming back here a ways, it's just barely starting to drop. And you can see by the door, we're pretty good there. So by the time I'm done everywhere, even if it was just primer, I could block that out in primer and level everybody up. So I'm happy with that. That worked out because that was going down. It was, you know what I'm saying to you? Not doing. Hey, good there, butted. Fitzy's old cutting butt. So I mean, shit. I don't know. I'm gonna start welding, going around it and welding. Do you give a shit about somebody going around and welding? Probably not. So this is what I done on the other side, and it seemed to work pretty good to make my piece for it in here. So it's just tape. A couple of pieces of tape. You could try to use paper for this, I guess, but the tape will kind of stretch around a curve. You know what I'm saying, Andy, instead of trying to fold paper around. So I just done that, and then there's an impression there that you can see in the right light. So I just followed it with a felt. The old Sharpie. Pretty high tech, the old Sharpie. And then I just cut this out and then duplicate this onto steel. And then that curve, and then you just kind of got to put the curve in it. And like I said, it worked on the other side, so it should work from this side. Pretty high tech. Hey, you want to watch me cut it? So this is what I got so far. It's pretty close, I think, to what I want. I used a piece of, I don't even know what. I think it was a hunk of cab corner or something I had. I kind of like doing that because it's already got primer on the inside, so I don't got to paint it. I just got to put something here. But I took the tape, laid it out, traced it out, cut it out, laid it, traced it, and cut it out. And it is kind of bitchy to try to, I mean, if you can see the kind of shape that we're trying to come up with here. If I had tools and equipment and I was a big famous TV star, you know, it'd be a lot easier because I'd have all the tools, equipment, and all the money behind me to do it. But I just kind of give it a twist and a bending and some of that. So, anyways, yeah, like that's pretty good. Once I get her in there, you kind of have to, if you're doing something like this, you kind of have to attack it in the spot here and there, and it's going to move on you a little bit, and then you kind of just got to work it. You just got to work it. And hopefully it works with you, not again you. Yeah, that'll be good. So I'm going to put a little bit of if you want to use a spray bomb more than once, maybe twice, blow the nozzle out. Paint dries up inside the nozzle. That's why they don't work no more. Hey, fatty cakes. Yeah, leave her there. It's going to take me a little bit to weld this because I don't want to put, I mean, it's pretty strong here because it's a hard curve, but I don't want to put too much heat into the sail panel into the roof, so it's going to take me a little bit to weld that up. But anyways, there you go. That is that's a wrap on installing a 1/4 pin. So if you watched up to this point, good for you.